Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me again. Today I'm going to show you how I created this beautiful snatch glam on my gorgeous girl Shemaya. I did have a little bit of a consultation before I started her makeup. I just asked her like what she loves about makeup on herself, what she doesn't love about makeup. I wanted to make sure what I did for her she loved. She did tell me that she loves her eyes to stand out. She loves that snatch glam, foxy lashes, darker lip liner with a lighter color in the center for her lips, which is what I gave her, and I'm so happy that she loved the glam. It was so nice to get to know her like as a person because I've been following her for a while and I briefly met her for like 5 minutes like a while before we did this video, but she's so beautiful inside and out and she's so talented. She's a DJ, she does modeling, she does acting, she does singing. Like she's like an all-rounder. Literally like laughing the whole time. It was the best 2 hours. And her hair was styled by the beautiful Hair by Nahla, and I will put all the tags in the description below. If you want to learn how to create this glam that I did on my gorgeous Shemaya, then keep on watching. Okay, so guys, please bear with me because I don't usually do voiceovers. I've had heaps of practice and it's actually so nerve-wracking. More nerve-wracking than talking on camera. So here we go. So I'm starting off with Shemaya's beautiful brows. We didn't want to overdo it, so we stuck to using hair wax just to lift them up and then lift up the tail of her brows a little bit as well. It gives her a slight snatch to her face. Then we went in with the MODELROCK X KRYSTAL K concealer in shade number 3. And I carved her lower brow and top brow. And in this tutorial I show how like recently what I've been doing is using the same concealer all over the forehead as well, and then also doing the forehead makeup as well as the same time as the eye. I'll show you soon, you'll see when I get up to that. But I'm applying concealer all over her eyelid and then blending that out and using our cream contour stick in shade number 11. So using this to warm up her eyelid, but then also going in with that same cream contour stick for her forehead contour. Placing the contour on the perimeter of her forehead just with a synthetic brush, and then I'm going to blend that out with my flat foundation brush into the concealer that I applied in the center of her forehead. Now with the eyes, bear with me because when I did film this tutorial, this is the first time filming on someone else, like as in me doing makeup on someone else, and I didn't realize I had to take off a certain feature that kind of like defocuses and focus, so it kind of like stuffed up the footage, and so there's not as much as the eye tutorial as I wanted to show you guys. But basically all I did was use a mix of bronzers for shadow on her outer end and kept deepening the bronzer when I got to more the detailed sections on the outer end of her eyes. And then for her eyelid I went in with a face powder, MAC NC20 I'm pretty sure for this one. And then to blend the two colors together I just used a medium tone bronzer so there were no harsh lines. We went with Snatched 4.0 lashes to give her a nice lifted look. And for her liner, what I like to do is I asked Shemaya to keep her eyes open as I draw the angle of the wing. This is just to ensure that the wing looks lifted and perfect on her eyes with both her eyes opened and also with her eyes closed. Also with this technique, this helps to make sure that when I angle the liner, it's following the way that the lashes are sitting on her eyes. I don't like the look when sometimes the liner looks lower than the lash or higher than the lash, because then in photos and videos I just feel like it looks like it's not shaping her eyes right, if that makes sense. And then now with the brows, as we mentioned earlier, we didn't want them to be too full, so we just added a little bit of product just from the mid to the end of the brow to make sure they don't look too soft when we compare it to her eye makeup. Now for the base, I went in with my moisturiser, the EMBRYOLISSE one. With moisturiser, I like to use a lot. So for any of you who have come to me, you will know that most of you freak out with the amount of moisturiser that I use, but then you realize that it makes the skin just look so amazing at the end of the makeover. And a lot of you have actually told me that you now, when you do your makeup, you use a lot more moisturiser because of it. So I'm glad in a way I helped. Anyways, so we did the moisturizer. I'm back on track here. Went in with foundation. For the foundation, I used Huda Beauty shade 400. And then I mixed NARS medium 4. Yeah. So I mixed NARS medium 4, sorry. And I blended it with our flat buffing brush. So I like to blend it with a tapping motion. And even as you can see when I apply the foundation with a flat brush, before blending, I'm doing it in a tapping motion as well. By blending the foundation with a tapping motion, it just allows the foundation to be more full coverage, where if you're going more swiping or like kind of back and forth motion on the face, it kind of chews out the foundation and you might find you're using more product than what you actually need. And with the dabbing, you'll see that I use that a lot with most of my process of the base. So both my foundation, my concealer, like as you can see now, it's more in a dabbing motion, where here I'm doing a color corrector. It doesn't look as peach on camera, but that's like that peach LA Girl Cosmetics color corrector. And then I went in with concealer and again dabbing. I'm using the same concealer I used on her eyelid, so the MODELROCK X KRYSTAL K shade 3. And again, dabbing from the inner corner. I like to take my time with the under eye area because it's the most sensitive, and also we want it to be nice and smooth. And I focus more on the inner corner first, and then lightly dabbing on the nose to start the nose contour. And I didn't get it on film, I don't know why, but I also brought it up and carved under her liner, just to make the liner look a little bit more sharper. Here I went in with the same contour stick, shade number 11. Did her cheekbones. I don't know what we're laughing at here, but we're laughing at something. Her cheekbones from the top of her ear to the bottom near her lip, but only like 3/4 of the way, and then on her jawline. And as you can see, I'm also slightly blending it upwards towards her concealer, so then later when I do blend it with the flat buffing brush, it's not as much effort. So I do half the work before I blend it, and here I'm back in with a buffing brush. But before I blend, what is my hand? I don't even know what I was saying there. But anyways, I keep getting off track. Sorry, guys. Now, so yes, what I was saying is I blend it with the first brush first. That didn't even make sense. But I blend it so there's not as much effort needed when I blend it with a flat brush. Yeah. Now, going in with our cream blush. This is in shade number 5. You guys have seen me use this so many times on my TikTok and Instagram because it's my personal favorite blush on my skin tone as well. And when I showed Shamaya, she absolutely loved it. So we use that, and I'm using the cream blush on the apples of her cheeks, and I brought it up all the way to her temples. I didn't want to use a crazy amount because I did want it to look a little bit more of that bronzy finish with just a touch of blush to give it a flush of color. Before I set anything on her face, I like to go back in with my beauty sponge and then make sure everything's nice and smooth, and to reduce any creasing that's potentially going to happen during the day. I make sure I just go in with a very, very light pressure and make sure it's all smoothed out. And I also do like to use a little bit of excess foundation that's on the back of my hand. But when I say excess foundation, I mean the tiniest bit, just to give her that little bit extra coverage under her eyes. And then I went in with my Huda Beauty powder in Cherry Blossom. And I mixed it with the Laura Mercier as well, and dabbed from the inner corner of her eyes up all the way to her temples. So I bring the powder all the way up to define under her liner as well, and up to her temples to give her that nice snatched finish to her eyes. And then I go back in with baking only on the outer end of the eyes. Then I'm using the same powder under her cheekbone contour just to make sure it's carved and lifted her cheekbones nice and clean. And then using the leftover powder on my powder puff, I kind of just, well, I didn't really film it, but I kind of just go over the rest of her face, but I don't bake it or leave any excess powder for it to sit. Now I'm going in with my powder bronzer, and I'm just going over all the areas on her face that I did cream contour just to deepen it a little bit more, but also add a little bit more warmth to her skin, because after you use your setting powder, it can kind of make the face look a little bit more duller, as much as it highlights and lifts your face, but it can make it look duller, a little bit more flat as well. So I'm bringing back the bronziness and warmth to her face with the BENNYE topaz. I'm pretty sure, I'll double check and I'll list it in the description, but I'm pretty sure I used the topaz BENNYE loose powder first, and then I mixed it with the MAC Sun-Kissed powder. Bringing the powder bronzer down her neck and on her décolletage. I also like to go in with a bronzer that's 2 shades deeper than the first bronzer that I used. I only put it right on the edges of her face, so right on the top near her temples, on the top of her ear, and then just a little bit like flicking it on her jawline. Nothing crazy, just to deepen those areas and create dimension on her face. And then I mixed I'm pretty sure like 4 different shades of our new powder blushes. I can't really tell you exactly which ones because I kind of mixed them all together. Those ones we're releasing hopefully within the next 2 months, but I will definitely keep you guys updated. And then using my favorite MODELROCK Lashes highlighter palette, I mixed the light pink and the white and put it all over her décolletage and on the apples of her cheeks and a little bit on her nose. Okay, I am so behind on this tutorial. I am talking way too much. I'm so sorry. What did I miss? All right, we did eyeliner. We used my black pencil liner in Black Caviar by REMOR by JIHANNE, which is my absolute favorite eyeliner at the moment. Her black and her dark brown. Not normal. The dark brown is called Mud Bath, I think. But we use the black in this tutorial. I smoked out the tight line just a tiniest bit. We will go back in her lower lash line and smoke it out more for the look. And then going in for her lips, we did use a lip oil just to soften and smoothen her lips before we applied any product. Went in with a dark brown lip liner. And in the center, we didn't want it to be too crazy nude. We didn't want it to wash her out. So we did do a more warmer tone nude. We used the shade Golden Sands by MODELROCK. And then I went over, I'm pretty sure I went over with a bit of a gloss. I don't know if I've done it already. I can't tell just yet. My hand is in the way. And then we smoked out her lower lash line. So I used the exact same 2 bronzers I used on her eyelid, on her lower lash line to smoke out, and setting her face with some setting spray. Wow, I absolutely love the way this look turned out. Applying some mascara on her top lashes. When I apply mascara on top of the false lashes, I only do it from the root mainly. On the ends, if I want them to look a tiny bit darker, but I kind of flick it on the ends because I don't want it to look bulky. Then I went in and applied some mascara on her lower lashes. When I do lower lashes, I do like to get rid of some of the excess mascara from the spoolie on the back of my hand, just to make sure there's less product and then less likely to smudge on her under eye. And then I use my favorite tiny Ronya brush to sharpen her inner corner liner, but I used the shadow so it wasn't too dark and it looked more effortless. And this is the final look. I hope you guys love this makeup as much as we did. We had so much fun filming it for you guys. If you have any questions at all about the makeup, leave it in the comments below and I will see you in my next video.